Hello all and welcome back to the Passion for FM YouTube channel. I am FM and today I am bringing you my starting 11 of Wonderkids sitting in a 4-2-3-1 formation, one of my favourite formations of all time in FM. And we've picked a team of the 11 best Wonderkids within the game. We have simulated 10 years into the future to find this list of players and bring you the best 11 of Wonderkids within FM23. So let's dive in. Of course, we start at the back in this formation in goal. I'm going to show you our keeper. He's from Germany and his name is Seaman. So Seaman now, of course, this is 10 years in the future. At this point, he is 26 within the game. It is the year 2032 and this keeper looks absolutely insane. But we'll dive into his history first and have a bit more of a nose there and see what he's been doing. So Dennis starts out at Stuttgart. For the early start of this game, he had a few seasons as their first team keeper, keeping some good clean sheets there before a move to Newcastle for 39.5 million. But you can see there, he's absolutely dominated since being their first team keeper ever since moving there, keeping a monstrous clean sheets, including that last season. He kept 18 clean sheets in 38 appearances. That is not bad at all for the German keeper. Of course, since then as well, he has become the Germany #1 keeper as well, with 53 caps so far for Germany. And you can see why from the state of those attributes. He is 6'4". He has a balance and jumping reach of 18, strength of 17, stamina 15, natural fitness of 15. I mean, the mentals are absolutely insane as well. Anticipation, composure, concentration, decision making, determination, all around 15 and 16. And even then, that vision of 20 as well. Imagine having a keeper with a vision of 20 to ping those balls from the back up to your strikers, to the wingers, even out to your centre backs. That vision of 20 is absolutely amazing. And then going to the actual goalkeeping traits there, you can see as well on his right hand side, he avoids using the weaker foot and uses the long throw to start counter attacks. I mean, with that long throw as well, he comes in here 15 throwing. As we look over at the goalkeeping attributes now, you see that rush out tendency is 16, so that could be a worry as a sweeper keeper, but depends how you set your team up. But those one-on-ones at 16, communication 17, command of area 17, and aerial reach of 18. What a keeper. Next up now, we go to Conor Bardghji, who was 18 at the start of this game. You can see now from the history. He started off at Liverpool, out on loan at Bolton in the first season, with a loan to Mexico for 2 seasons at Tigres before Bundesliga side Bayer Leverkusen came in 42 million for the wing back. And since then had a few seasons there as a starting player, but didn't play in that 27-28 season because he went on loan to Lazio, where he became their starter. Just 14 million after he came in 42 million 3 years prior, which is quite insane really when you're looking at it that way. The price difference, the valuation has massively dropped off, but he's become absolutely incredible, impeccable for Lazio, their main starter. And of course you can see here a bunch of assists off, 5 assists, 2 assists. He's getting a good lot of number of assists as well in that fullback role for Lazio. But the main thing you want to see is this now for the 28-year-old. Look at those physicals, acceleration at 15, agility 16. Even going further down, by the way, he's 6 foot as well for a fullback, which is always good to have. Nice a bit of height out there on the wing. So if their keeper is springing the ball out wide, he's going to win those aerial duels. He's a star player at Lazio as well. And I mean, looking at the technicals and the mentals there, I can't really see much wrong with the guy. I mean, tackling of 10 could be a bit of a problem for you, possibly, because you want that fullback who can tackle, but as an attacking fullback option, that crossing and dribbling at 13, he's got pace, he can get up and down that line, he likes to get forward whenever possible, and look at all these traits. Knocks the ball past the opponent, avoid using weaker foot, refrains from taking long shots as well. I mean, long shots are actually 11, so it's not even that bad for the fullback really, but a good career he's had so far at 28 years of age. It's nice to see a Northern Ireland player in there as well. So we're going to go from right to left now as we go to the right centre-back, and for this option I've picked Antonio Silva. He's 28 now within the game in this 10-year simulation. He's had a bit of a career of his own himself. He starts things off at Benfica within the game, and after a few seasons there of not being a starter, he went to Liverpool for 39.5 million. And again, he had that first season where he played a few games. Next season played most of the games, and he kind of dropped off massively from there at the club. And a few years down the line, in 2030, he went to Brighton for 28 million. So again, it's a bit of a high value on this player at the start of the game, but he didn't move till quite late on as well. So his valuation could be a lot lower within the game if you can get him early doors. But of course, now at Brighton, he looks a very good centre-back option. I mean, physically, he has good acceleration, good agility, stamina, strength, pace, natural fitness, all very high for the 6'2" centre-back. He likes to mark opponent tightly, tries to play away out of his trouble as well, which could be a problem sometimes, but it depends if you like your ball playing centre-back or you want your straight-out centre-back. But it's the mentals of what dragged me in straight away. That vision of 16, that positioning of 15, determination, not bad decision-making, 15 concentration, composure, and even anticipation at 17. I mean, okay, technically he hasn't had the best in this simulation because he hasn't been playing first team football, but at an early age, if you can get the rest of those behind him, that physical and mental, and you work on his technicals at an early age, I mean, his tackling and marking is still 14, passing 14, heading of 14, but these are all things you can work on within the game. So Antonio Silva, I reckon, will develop even better than this if he is starting week in, week out. So next up is the young Brazilian Kaiky. He comes into the game at 18 years of age, and he already looks a great defender at that point of the game. But now he's at Chelsea, he's 6 foot. But first, let's see the history. So we just start the game off. He's at Almeria in the Spanish First Division, and after a season there, you can see he moved to Benfica for 10.25 million. Only one season there before he moved away. A few years in Portugal before Chelsea came knocking for an 85 million cost. And I mean, since then he has been a starter at the London club, and what a defender he has been for them. But you can see right now the valuation at 28 years of age is between 132 million and 395 million. He's been an international for Brazil now on 43 occasions, getting those 43 caps from. And I mean, in terms of the actual ability of the player, look at those attributes. He's got great defensive attributes. I mean, for me, I like a taller centre-back, but with a jumping reach of 14. He's 6 foot. I mean, we've seen Lisandro Martinez this year in the Premier League alone being questioned about his height, but he's proven to be a great defender. So height isn't everything. But in FM, maybe it varies for you. So have a think about this one before you do sign him. Think about that height. Do you want someone that's a bit taller maybe? Who knows? But mentally, anticipation of 17, concentration 17, decision making 16, even that positioning and vision as well. And even when you go over to the technical side of things, I mean, some of them aren't that bad really. Marking of 17, passing of 14, tackling 13, okay, you might want a bit higher than that. Same with the heading, but a 6 foot defender, you get someone a bit taller, like a 6'4" defender in next to this guy. This guy can just sit back and take on the pressure and defend them corners while you have your other big centre back going forward and attacking the corners. Just an idea anyway for this guy and how you can play him. I mean, in other simulations, I think people use him as a CDM possibly as well, so you could always move him into a CDM. I mean, in this one, he's an unconvincing CDM right now, but you could always try him in that role as well. So next up, we're going to Tottenham Hotspur. I know this guy is actually at Tottenham Hotspur within the start of the game. From my beta save, I've been doing my Spurs over on my own channel. So he's there from the start of the game, being loaned out to Udogie. And then since then, he came back from that loan. He came a start for Tottenham Hotspur straight away. I mean, only one season he got 11 appearances. Besides that though, 29, 34, 38. He played the majority of the games, if not every game within the Premier League. And looking at the guy, he's absolutely insane. He's exactly what I look for in an attacking fullback. I love attacking fullbacks, someone who can get up the wing, get them balls into the box, help the attack, be more creative. And right now, he's a star player at Tottenham Hotspur, valued between 134 million and 401 million for the 29-year-old fullback. You can see why those physicals, that agility, that balance, that acceleration, the natural fitness, the stamina, they're all 16 and 15. There's only 114 in there. And that is his jumping reach for a 6'2" fullback as well. I mean, you could always retrain to be a centre-back, honestly. Work on that jumping reach, give him that aerial training. The options there is a left-footed centre-back possibly to retrain this guy. But mentally and technically as well, he is very, very good. That anticipation, that concentration, decision-making, and even technically on that crossing and dribbling, 13's pretty good numbers. Marking of 17 as well, tackling of 12. Again, the tackling is a bit lower than what you'd want him to be a centre-back if it was to move him back there. But that passing of 14, I mean, if he's put as a centre-back from the start of the game, maybe he'd develop that a lot more, possibly. But again, even with the player traits, so for that left-hand side, gets forward whenever possible, runs down that left wing, and then knocking the ball past opponents. I'd probably keep him on the left wing personally if I was you, but again, it's totally up to you. It's your judgment. You can see here, he's played a lot of positions, so it's totally up to you. You could easily retrain this guy to play through the middle or even in that centre-back pairing. So for us now, where we're playing a 4-2-3-1, we're going to go with the two DMCM/ players now. I'm going to start with Romeo Lavia. Of course, in real life, he just moved from Man City to Southampton. He moved to Southampton for 12.5 million within real life. And then from there, within the first season, he was already sold in a part exchange actually of 14.25 million. You can't see who was in the exchange actually going back to Southampton. But Lazio took him for that fee. And within a season, he was already sold to Manchester United for 38 million. Where he became a starter straight away. You can see from the appearances here, he's been in this team non-stop. Getting a handful of assists from midfield, 9 assists in one season here, 6, 5s and 4s. But he's a more defensive option in my eyes, but we'll take a look at that now by looking at his attributes. In terms of those attributes though, straight away, he's got the physicals, but 5'10". This guy, he can play that defensive role, he can be that DM, but he can be that more attacking option for you as well. He does like to get forward whenever possible, looks for the pass rather than attempting to score as well, which is great to see. Knocking balls past the opponents and tries longer range passes as well, which I mean, did that passing at 15, that vision at 17, that's not a bad thing to see. That work rate at 15, I mean, look at the mentals there. Some absolutely insane mentals on this guy, and even the physicals are absolutely incredible. Lavia, again, now he's currently valued between 133 million and 399 million. Now at the age of 28, of course, this is 10 years on in the future from the base game. This guy has really developed and become an absolute baller, yet alone the fact he's played 91 caps for Belgium already. So joining him in the midfield, we've gone to Portugal for Guilherme Santos. I'm hoping I'll pronounce that correctly anyway. The 27-year-old, I saw some of these attributes and some of these player traits and thought, this guy has it all. But firstly, of course, we look straight away at the history, and he has never moved club within this simulation. He has been at Sporting the entire time. I mean, the first few seasons, he wasn't really playing, so his development has stunted a little bit there, but from 27-28, he's been a starter every season for Sporting. Of course, Sporting one of the bigger teams over in Portugal as well. So having this guy as a starter, he must be doing something right. By this point in the game, though, at the age of 27, he's only valued between 24 and 73 million. So again, I do feel like the first few seasons of not playing enough football at the club have stagnated him a little bit. But you can see, though, in 173 appearances now, he has bagged 51 goals from midfield. So he must be doing something right. And you can see from the traits straight away. Tries killer balls often, tries 1-2s, dictates the tempo, does not dive into tackles, tries the long range passes and tries to switch the ball often. And then you look at the physicals and the mentals again. Some of those mentals are absolutely insane. The anticipation of 19, vision of 18, 16s in leadership, off the ball, even the concentration decision making, both at 17. And technically, he's very well rounded, so there's no big standout numbers there. But the fact he's got passing of 15 with that vision of 18, penalty taking even 13, it's not bad in it at all really. That technique at 14. Even a long shot and even the first touch at 15. I mean, that's probably the bone standout, really. That dribbling at 14, first touch at 15. That more attacking midfielder coming from deep. Maybe a CM on support, CM attack role, pushing in from deep behind. Even a Mazzala possibly for this guy. Could work very well. You could probably play him in the cam role if you wanted to as well. Probably do that very, very well. But Guilherme Santos, I'm still butchering that name. But as a star player now at Sporting, he's one to watch. So we move now into that front three, just behind the striker, just ahead of the CMs. And this guy was massive last year within the game. He still is. Roony Bardghji comes in now at 26 years of age. At the age of 16, he starts in the game. He's incredible then, but now he's even better. Of course, you can see his career path there. He started at Copenhagen within the game before a 10 million move to Monaco. How cheap is that? 10 million. And that was in the 25-26 season. So earlier on the say, you could probably get him for absolute peanuts. And after a few years at Monaco, of course, that big team of France, PSG, came knocking for 64 million. Where again, he's not really been much of a starter. He played 23 games in that season, 16 the season afterwards. But again, in 16 games, bagging 5, 2 assists, 7.33 average rating, best rating in the whole save right now. It's interesting to see what would happen going forward if he'd start for PSG in that next season. But we're looking now at the attributes. I mean, the player traits alone stand alone for me. Straight away, I'm seeing shoots from distance, plays 1-2s, runs with the ball often and cut inside from that right wing. Is that inverted winger inside forward on that right hand side, being left footed as well. He's going to crack shots off all day long. Physically, very physical there. You can see the acceleration of that guy straight away. He might not be the strongest with strength of 14, but in terms of that agility, balance and acceleration, all really high. Mentally, again, that composure of 19, vision of 18, off the ball, flair, they're all very high numbers there for him. And again, in them technicals, I'm looking straight away that crossing of 14, dribbling of 17, the first touch even at 15. Very good, well-rounded player indeed. He's now had 76 caps for Sweden, and he's seen the cheap price you can get him for an early age. Go grab him. So through the middle of the pitch now, we are back to PSG with another one of their players. Arda Guler comes in. The young Turkish lad that starts the game, 17 years of age. You can see 10 years on now. He has really developed. His career starts within the game at Fenerbahce after he joined them a few years ago for 20k. And after a few seasons at Fenerbahce, Atletico Madrid came knocking for 20.5 million, which is still a really cheap price for this guy. And after a few seasons there, really impressive. I mean, he got a lot of goals, a lot of assists every season. PSG offered 140 million for this guy. The young Turkey lad moves over to PSG. I mean, I can imagine the PSG team in this save is absolutely ridiculous by this point. But you can see why they spent the big money on him. International-wise, he's played 61 caps with 25 goals so far for Turkey. He's now valued between 127 million and 381 million. But in terms of those attributes, wow. everything just blows your mind straight away. The physical, 17s, 18s, 16s across the ball. Mentally, composure of 20, anticipation of 20, vision of 20. Off the ball, leadership both at 19, that's absolutely insane. These numbers are just ridiculous. The dribbling of 17, first touch 16, free kick taking of 16 as well, and that passing of 17, technique, I mean, I could go on all day. Every attribute pretty much is right up there with some of the best you can get within the game. I mean, you've seen how cheap he goes for. Get him in. So this next one, we go off to Norway. Andreas Schjelderup, I've already seen a lot of people using him within their saves this year already. Obviously, he's at Nordland at the start of the game, and he is one to get in. He starts to get at Nordland, and this save, of course, he went to Borussia Dortmund for 5.25 million. An absolute bargain within that first season even, he went there. He had a good couple of seasons there as a starter, a lot of goals, a lot of assists, and then Bayern Munich, of course. Very similar to the Monaco and PSG situation for the last guy. Dortmund, Bayern Munich, same thing again as always. Bayern Munich coming with the big money, 76 million for this kid. And I mean, he hasn't even been a starter there. He's been very much a backup player. 10 games, 12 games, 11 games, 15 in the most recent season, but no assists, only the one goal. You can see why he probably isn't starting at Bayern. They're probably thinking, well, if he ain't performing in 15 games, why would we start him? But the question is why, because you look at the attributes there, and you think this guy should be a starter for anyone. He's a fringe player at Bayern Munich right now. Even at Bayern, this late into the game, you could probably get him at the age of 28 already. I mean, the acceleration's not there with the best of the wingers, but I'm looking more at those mentals again, that composure of 20, off the ball 19, vision of 18, going along with the passing of 15, first touch 15, dribbling of 16. Of course, if this guy starts in your saves every game, week in, week out, he can be so much better than this, but he starts off so well already. And again, I'll go back to this. He had Dortmund, he had a few seasons where he started quite a lot of games. And he probably got redeveloped, and then that last season didn't really play. Then, of course, Bayern came in, snatched him away, and it just stunted the rest of his development for the rest of his career. But again, a very good player to get in at a young age. He can redevelop within this game, so he's definitely one to watch. You can just get him signed up. It's pennies. It's absolute pennies. If you're a big club, say, if you can get him in, iron him out for a few seasons, get him back in your first team. And we end today's video with a French international who scored 46 international goals in 86 appearances for France. He's currently at Bayer Leverkusen. We're looking at Elye. I mean, I've definitely butchered that name wrong completely, but we'll dive in and have a look at his history. Starts off at Montpellier, and after one season, he was in a part exchange deal to Bayer Leverkusen for 36.5 million plus a player. Again, we don't know who the player is, but you can see straight away he went to Leverkusen and became a starter from the very beginning. Starting lots of games, bagging goals for fun. You can see some of the seasons like 20 goals, 19, 20 here, and he's had a very good career here at Bayer Leverkusen. We can see now though, in total for Leverkusen, in 266 appearances, he's bagged 134 goals. Absolutely great numbers for the striker. I mean, one spoiler, we did think we're going to avoid the whole Endrick thing. Everyone knows about who Endrick is. I'm trying to avoid him in our Wonderkid videos. Everyone knows how good he can be. But I personally thought, this guy's even better. Because again, for me, I like someone who is 6 foot minimum, who can kind of basically control that front line with a lot of strength. Battling way past players. I mean, with 16 strength, 16 stamina, he's nothing to like, is there really? Good balance, good agility, both at 17, acceleration of 16. He is rapid, got dribbling of 15, finishing to only 13, but you can see he can score goals with that low finishing. But mentally as well, the anticipation, the composure, the decision making, and off the ball, all really good. My last one on this list, value between 106 million and 318 million now. You gotta get him early, because once that valuation starts firing up, which it has done here at Leverkusen, you've probably got no chance of getting this guy in. So there we have it then. That is my Wonderkid 11 within FM23. If you know of any better players that you think should make the list, or ones I should look at myself, let me know in the comment section. Put them down below. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you're subscribing to the channel and liking this video. And as well as that, there's a link down below to my own channel, Murph FM. Come check it out. We've got a bunch of variety of videos over there. So come hang out with us, come check them out. But for now, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.